Echoes here, and welcome to part 2 of What If Hawks Saved Deku. I am so used to saying What If Deku instead of saying What If Hawks. God. Anyways, so last we left off, Deku made it into UA. So we're starting off with his first day of school, and he's walking into class. Of course, he walks into class and immediately notices Bakugo being scolded by Ida, and this time he doesn't know Ida, so he doesn't have anything to think about that, but he does remember Bakugo being a bit of an ass when they last met. However, since Bakugo did not see Deku at the entrance exam this time, when Bakugo notices that, Deku exists, he's slightly surprised. Yay. Anyways, then what happens is, of course, Aizawa comes in his odd fashion, and most things go the same. Of course, we get to the quirk apprehension test, and Deku, this time, I'm going to say he does better than Mineta in most things, because I don't care what the anime or manga says. He has such short legs, there's no way he beats them in a 50-meter dash, and I can see the grip strength test if he just, made it stuck, but still, the standing long jump, 50-meter dash, and the one where they throw the thing, there's no way in hell he does better than Midori on that. I mean, I get his entire quirk is throwing stuff, but that's just basic, arms at that point. I'm pretty sure that the length of your arm should affect those. So what ends up happening is Mineta gets expelled. At the end of the test, they see the scores coming up on screen. Deku is, terrified. And actually, Uraka doesn't actually know Deku or call him that in this timeline, because they don't really know each other. Deku doesn't really know anyone except for Todoroki and Yaoyorozu, who saw him at the exam. I'm a bit blurry on if I mentioned that last time, but he did, and they're not really friends, but, they met, so that's a thing. But, yeah, when it comes up, Deku, of course, doesn't do well, but it just does barely better than Mineta. And maybe Hagakure, because I'm gonna point it out, Hagakure is just the exact same as Deku in my opinion, because, her quirk is being invisible. It doesn't really help in any of these, so I'm gonna say it's a very close thing between those two, and Mineta's just at a disadvantage because he's super tiny and short. Deku ends up getting, second to last place, Hagakure just ahead of him, and Mineta right below. This time, I don't think that Mineta really showed his, oh my god, I have potential moment, so Aizawa calls out and says, Mineta, you're expelled. Of course, this surprises Yaoyorozu, who exclaims slightly. Of course, she had thought that it was a ruse in order to get them to try harder. Everyone who was expecting it and believed Aizawa, though, looked resigned at the fact. With a small amount of protest from Neta, saying that it was unfair, he gets kicked out, and everyone else is told to go back to the rooms and get changed. The next day, everything goes as normal, and they end up in All Might's class. All Might comes into the room, and Deku, who has not met All Might in this timeline, gets super excited, of course. And obviously, All Might ends up telling them to get changed in their hero costumes and to go to their place. Now, in this one, I'm saying that Deku's hero costume changed because he doesn't have a quirk in this one, and it didn't suddenly develop, so I think that his mom would be even more worried about him, going out on the field. But I can understand that she'll still choose to support his dream, considering he still managed to get in by, Hawks himself. So, she's supportive of his dream, but she also is being more protective of him. She made more of a protective outfit, meant to protect his, vital organs or some stuff. I'm saying Midoriya Inko works as a nurse. New headcanon unlocked. That's her job now. And thus she knows that type of stuff, So obviously she gives him things like medical gear and lots of pockets, because Deku looked it over and tried to make it, better for running and stuff. He didn't explicitly change her design, but he, went with it. By the way, I forgot to mention, Deku is fanboying out in this corner. First time he's ever met All Might, and he's super excited. And after getting changed, All Might explains the tasks, and of course, Deku Ochako versus Bakugo and Ida. Now, this is slightly different because Ochako obviously has not really talked with Deku before then, nor has he really befriended Ida either, although Ochako and Ida know each other. So, with a bright smile when they're paired off together and go out to fight, she's excited and says to Deku, "Hey, you're Deku, right?" Izuku sputters before simply saying, "No, my name's Midoriya Izuku." Of course, he's freaking out because, oh my god, it's a girl. Such a stupid reaction. And, of course, Ochako butts in, "Oh, sorry. It's just that Bakugo calls you that." And Deku's just slightly confused before saying, yeah, it's an insult that he made when we were kids." Ochako goes on her spiel and says, "Oh, I thought it was meant to be like, Takeru, you can do it." And Izuku simply just says, well, if you want, you can call me that, I guess." And Ochako, slightly confused, simply says, "Okay, Deku." Anyways, now that they've wasted their precious minutes to do introductions, they start getting on to planning. Deku starts talking about how he used to know Bakugo. We grew up together. His quirk works through his hands. It's an explosion based. I know you know that from last time, but he'll most likely end up patrolling for us and leaving Ida to guard the bomb." Ochako, listens intently, and then before Deku asks, "What's your quirk?" "My quirk is zero gravity. I can get rid of the gravity on objects so that way, and then they end up floating upwards. I can't hold it for too long, though, because it makes me nauseous. Bigger the object, more nauseous." Deku, of course, listens intently, and Uraka asks, "What's yours?" Deku looks put out and says, "Unimportant. Let's work on that then. Why don't we use your quirk to scale the building? I have this." Deku pulls out a grappling gun. Yes, I am giving him that because I think that Deku'd end up being slightly, encouraged by the fact that Hawks is a air-based hero, and I mean, he's still an All Might fanboy, but I think in the recent couple months, he's found a new hero that he's, actually interacted with to take inspiration from. So, he has both Hawk's reference goggles and a grappling hook, just in order to make it seem more like he's, flying and such. Although Deku does, in fact, still have the green theme, Actually, it'd be interesting if he went into the red theme, but I digress. He still goes with a green theme to, match his entire thing. And I'm going to say he chose a weapon this time because he doesn't have a super cool quirk to rely on. And I'm going to say it's a baton. Out of nowhere, but I think blunt stick works out great. Anyways, so the time goes off and All Might says that they have to enter the building. Of course, they start off with their plan. Deku and Ochako decide to enter the building, starting with a pretty high up but mid-level floor. The third floor. They decide to enter together, and instead of splitting up, Deku doesn't want to really confront Bakugo because it's been a while, and yeah. So, of course, they enter in through the third floor together and quickly come across Ida, who's alone, and hear Bakugo making noises downstairs because I think he's just incapable of subtlety. He's loud. Now, of course, the two of them, seeing Ida, want to creep into the room and notice that it's completely cleared of objects. Deku and Uraka try and enter slowly, only for Ida to notice them because, they're kids, they don't know how to be stealthy yet. Ida, of course, says, well, he's doing that thing where he's trying to get in character and is like, "Halt, heroes," like that. And before he reports into Bakugo, say that both heroes are in the room with him. Now, obviously, slightly taken aback and, needing to fight, and also because Bakugo is somewhat close still, very quickly, Deku just says to Uraka, "Go after the bomb. I'll get Ida." And Ida, of course, positions himself in front of the bomb, but still knows that he has to run to, effectively use his quirk. And when Deku starts going towards him, he quickly tries to disorient Deku. Uraka nearly manages to skip past the two, which Deku's now sort of getting to distract Ida, except Ida keeps intercepting Uraka before she can get too close, because Ida's entire thing is speed, and although Ida has gone hit in the face with a baton a couple of times, it's annoying. Meanwhile, Bakugo manages to get there just before Uraka is able to touch the bomb, and distracted by the sudden noise, giving Ida an opening to, push Uraka back again. Now, Bakugo doesn't actually care about this, and charges straight for Deku, yelling, "Die!" like he does. Now, of course, Deku is prepared for the right hook and quickly, gets Bakugo to slam into the ground. Meanwhile, Uraka and Ida start facing off, completely, because she's like, oh, we have to actually capture them now. Now, here's the thing now. It's a 2v2, making this fight a lot harder for Deku and Ochako. But I think that Bakugo will most likely be able to disorient Deku via the explosions, and Deku, slightly desperate, decides to shoot off his grappling hook, what seems like it's at Bakugo, but really aiming behind him, where where it hits against a corner of the wall before slightly wrapping around a small support beam that's in the room. I'm saying there's a support beam in the corner. You can't argue with me. It's my rules. Anyways. Now, Bakugo, who was about to charge again, is slightly cut off by the fact that Deku zooms past him and over to a corner very close to the bomb. Meanwhile, Uraka notices what Deku's doing and takes this as an opportunity because Ida whipped around to look at Deku because he was, closer to the bomb. And since Ida was closer to Deku, he goes to intercept, and Bakugo, since he's focused on Deku, goes to, go to Deku. Both of them forgetting about, Ochako. Deku, who is running towards the bomb, even though it's just for farce at this point, is about to be intercepted by the other two boys when the voice rings out that the heroes, All Might's voice rings out that the heroes win. Their heads snapping up to Ochako, who has touched the bomb. I know, this was all terribly written. I can't do fight scenes. I'm sorry. Now, after the battles, of course, they go back to the classroom, and All Might, of course, asks who the MVP is. Obviously, Yaoyorozu raises her hand, and she states that, I'm gonna say Uraka is the MVP, because, she says it because, she was the one that, she didn't come up with the plans, she did perfectly perform her thing and took advantage of the distraction. Actually, wait. Yaoyorozu raises her hand and says that Deku's the MVP due to the fact that he was able to come up with plans in quick amounts of time and distract the villains long enough for the Ochako to get to the bomb. Now, of course, All Might blindly agrees with this. Bakugo's pride is hurt. Ida, Ochako, and Deku form their little trio there for now. We're gonna get Todoroki later, I swear. And all is well in the world. Deku, who receives some minor burns, is told to go to Recovery Girl's office afterwards, but he doesn't have to right now. On the way out, though, Deku, I'm going to say that they're the last group, and Deku was one of the last to leave, because he was freaking out over, oh my god, All Might. And, of course, All Might decides to look over at Deku and says, "Boy, why didn't you use your quirk? It was getting kind of intense in there." Now, All Might does not know Deku's quirk list. And I'm sorry, that's all I'm going to say before this conversation continues between the two. Just keep that in mind. I like All Might. Except for right now. Of course, Deku stutters a lot and gets out, I'm quirkless. All Might, a bit shooketh, doesn't respond before Deku basically sprints out of the room. Terrified. And that's the end of this part. I'm gonna have to edit this. This is 30 minutes long. Oh god. Echo Zerf signing off, and hope you enjoyed it.